Greetings from downtown San Diego, another episode of Adventures Over 55. This episode, we're coming to you from the left coast. We're going to start off by going to the desert town of Julian, going to see a Labyrinth in Boulevard, California. We're going to go to the Mission Bay District. We're going to do some other funky things, arts and stuff like that. And then we're going to go up to La La Land. So sit tight. It's going to be a colorful episode, and I think I'm going to need my shades, whether it's sunny or not. On this episode of Adventures Over 55, Robin and I will be starting in sunny San Diego, where I'll be attending the International Mobile Film Festival. Then we head east to the desert town of Boulevard, where we'll walk one of the oldest man-made labyrinths in the United States. From there, we'll mosey on over to the ghost town of Julian, California, and back over to the coast to check out the flower fields in Carlsbad. Then we make our way north up the Pacific Coast Highway and take in the sights from the cliffs at Laguna Beach, and we'll end this adventure at our hotel in the City of Angels, where we'll have a few days to take in the history and the culture of downtown LA. We checked into our hotel with a great pool, balcony, and all the amenities, but guess what? We were hardly ever there, just really to sleep. California's second largest city is like a playground. There's so much history, 70 miles of beaches, attractions, nature. You don't know what to do first. The climate's ideal. In fact, it was downright chilly at the end of April. It was suggested that we start off by going downtown, where there's lots of food, music, and culture, and tequila. We're here in the Old Town District of San Diego. This whole sort of like complex is called the Fiesta de Reyes. And the restaurant is Casa de Reyes. All kinds of great food, drinks. I'm here for a little tequila, get rid of this little thing that's happening in my chest, which is going to be gone by the time I get to the International Mobile Film Festival tomorrow. Let's see what they've got. If you like fresh, flavorful, sizzling, hot Mexican food, then you're going to be in heaven in Casa de Reyes. In fact, you're going to notice that I look a little heavier in this episode because I ate quite a bit. Also, bring a jacket because it's chilly. I mean, the weather is just ideal. Well, we're on our way over to the Mission Bay Conference Center for the International Mobile Film Festival. Why? Well, yours truly submitted a film. It's not exactly the Garden of Eden now, is it, Jack?
What? Did you imagine that I would arrive in a long white robe?
Well, at least you have a sense of humor.
But we're not going to think about any of that right now. We're going to think about lots of people who have taken to making feature as well as short films on their mobile devices. And there may be a few surprises.
Going to a film festival is magical.
The greatest learning opportunity I think you can have is try and immerse yourself in as many live festival experiences as you can.
We're here at the International Mobile Film Festival in San Diego, California. You know, people are shooting all kinds of content on their mobile phones. We're not just talking about little YouTube clips, we're talking about full-length features. And you know what? Even great shows like Adventures Over 55. Oh, there's more people coming. Shh. Right now, we're going to bring up my friend and a willing part of all this, Tim Russ.
I think it's a split personality. He's a teetotaler, mama's boy. There's something that's tapped into his consciousness, something that happened a long time ago. Something that's triggering rage. It's too late to put the genie back in the bottle.
We're gonna need some help.
And my note to him at the beginning was, Sonny is the character. You need to follow Sonny all the way through this. And if we're going to establish him as the serial killer character, what is it about him that is driving him to do these things? What is it about him that's tormenting him?
I'm sure you can find another place to play bridge.
Mother, you can't sleep your entire life away.
Why not? What else have I got to do?
You have to have good talent, and then you've got to have a strong post-production in terms of editing in particular, because what you have is a whole pile of footage with no story until it's cut together.
Which way to the stage? The festival was a lot of fun, but we're a little spent, so we've decided to head to the beach. And there's no shortage of them, at least a dozen in and around San Diego. There's also an amusement park about 50 yards from the entrance, which reminds me a little of Coney Island, so you know we're going to go check that out.
Is there a beach over here?
But after all the cameras and the hobnobbing, the serenity of a San Diego sunset and the sounds of seagulls is just what we need.
Look at those waves, look at this sunset. The Mission Bay District in San Diego is kind of like the Greenwich Village, sort of like the funky sort of place to be. You have kind of a younger crowd. So there's lots of sports, but there's still lots of sailings, lots of yachts. Take a look. We're in Belmont Park in San Diego, having a great time, talking to Zoltar, and ooh, look at that, the crazy submarine up there. How about that?
That looks like it's getting pretty high. This going back this way is the all right. They're safe.
Look at that big ice cream.
Tasting the chocolate chip.
Check it out. Does that look familiar? Looks like the Cyclone to me, huh? Yeah, you know, you could use a couple of pounds. This looks good.
From the other point of view, you look great because you can use some muscles and a nice abdomen like that.
No, now, Robin.
Do we do bumper cars and try to kill each other?
No, because then we won't have a good time later.
You know, it doesn't take long to get into the mountains once you leave San Diego. But, boy, the air smells sweet. People are friendly. The food is good. I don't care if it's the Grand Canyon or where we are right now in Alpine, California on the way to Julian, is the breakfasts. Log cabin, sort of atmosphere that goes back to the mid-1800s. And biscuits and gravy. I'll never turn down a chance to have biscuits and gravy. That's mighty good coffee.
There's something about heading into the desert as we drive through the hills and past auto graveyards. This one is the Transportation Museum. What can I tell you? Everybody's got an angle, including the place we're going to in Boulevard, California, an RV park called the Oaks at Sacred Rocks. Supposedly, there's a replica of the 13th century labyrinth at Chartres, France. People consider labyrinths to be a form of walking meditation that can help you free up space in your brain. We were told not to use our GPS to find this place, otherwise we'd get lost, which is always a great way to start a side trip.
Next mile.
A lot of twists and turns.
Yeah, you can handle
Snaky.
it. Snake around.
I think I can handle it.
Where's the labyrinth?
That's not it. Oh, here, tent area.
Yeah,
This is the tent area?
I don't know. I am out in the middle of nowhere, looking for this labyrinth. It's beautiful out here. I mean, there's no one around, you know? This one is an 11th Circuit labyrinth. You are not supposed to step over the lines. You have to enter and then walk the whole thing and do your prayer and meditation, and in your case, some repentance. I wonder if this will be good for my karma. Most likely not. And whether you believe in karma or Buddha or Jesus or something else, one thing is indisputable, and that is this place is peaceful. Isn't she cute? Look at her. Walking the maze like she's on the way to pick up her car or something. The whole concept about this place is that you're supposed to unplug. The air quality and the water quality are supposed to be among the best on the planet out here.
This one.
No, that's the fan.
No, but the light, I just saw it. Whatever. Yeah, so there's a little, it's like a little stall shower. I mean, it's been renovated very nicely. And,
Sleep on this?
I guess you pull this out. It's like a futon.
One-person bungalow.
It's like a one-person bungalow. You want to come and do some fishing? You want to go out of your mind? I'm in Julian, California, which is part ghost town, although there's still plenty of people that live here. It's part Wild West, it's part hippie, it's part bikers. It's a real eclectic mix of people. But the reason we're here is we are told they have the best apple pie in the Southwest. Now, you normally wouldn't think of some place outside of San Diego as being known for apple pie, but that's what my sources have told me.
Okay, we're ready. I have to do two things. What?
Ready for what?
Ready to get my apple pie.
Apparently the story is that when they struck gold out here back in like the 1850s, a guy named James Madison brought with him a whole bunch of apple seeds, and they flourished, and to this day apples are still like an export product from Julian, California. That's good pie. In addition to the apples that Mike Julian planted over 150 years ago, there are several structures and relics that remain from that long ago era of mining and gold rush fever, including a jail where nefarious characters and town drunks were parked overnight. The town is surrounded by lush green valleys and bucolic vistas, and we happened to stumble upon this historic well.
Someone built a building.
I know what I'm wishing for. You know what you're wishing for?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. I'm afraid. Okay, ready?
Make a wish come true.
1, 2, 3.
Here we go.
The well was actually dug in about 1900, and it was just onto the floor. It was just started at the floor down, and was used to put water on the property here. This was like a little farm. Back then, this was so far off Main Street, it was kind of rural. It was there was only 4 or 5 little buildings downtown when it first started. So by 1911, the town of Julian needed more water, so they actually had a well in the middle of the street, and they closed it because cars were invented, and they needed to have more street room. So they bought this well from the owners of the property, and then the water from here was pumped by that pump that's outside to the tower across the street, and then it gravity fed all that block of Main Street in Julian.
All kinds of minerals, gold, and then our hills. You know, they would take the burros on those trails over there and go all the way down into that valley. Not just gold and silver, but borax and all kinds of crazy other minerals. Belgium has nothing on Carlsbad, California when it comes to growing flowers, which in northern San Diego County goes back to the 1940s. Have you ever had the desire to run through acres and acres of flower fields naked? Well, you can't do that here at the Carlsbad, California flower fields, but you can see over 50 acres of every type and variety of flower, fauna, plant. They've got it all, and it's arranged in such a way that it sort of goes through the spectrum of color. It's really quite amazing. Different shades, different types. I've never been in the middle of 50 acres of flowers, but, you know, it's something that I guess I always wanted to see, and, you know, let's go take a look. It happens every year between March and May. There's this annual burst of color. It just so happened to be that we were here for the film festival. Smells incredible, and it's springtime, so everything is in bloom. If you like orchids like I do, they've got dozens of varieties here. There are so many types of orchids, and they're addicting. Different colors, different fragrances. They bring peace, love, and happiness to one's life, but not necessarily to my companion, who's beginning to wonder where I am. They've got a maze for the kids, and it is amazing, and I'm already stumped. However, I have a feeling my 8-year-old daughter would be able to get through this in about 2 minutes. Now, from one plant to another, we visit the pot store downtown. SDRC, San Diego Recreational Cannabis. I mean, you know, I feel guilty just being here, but look at this. You know, just because I'm 54 years old, 55 years old, doesn't mean that I might not still be interested in eating brownies. Actually, I haven't smoked in years. But, you know, I had a couple of panic attacks, anxiety attacks. It's, you know, maybe something that I might pick up again. And it's just right here in San Diego, SDRC. Look, this is the civilized way to do it. Sativa, indica, and it smells, oh my God, it smells so good. And these guys are really nice, they're really helpful. This is the civilized way. Buy weed. It's the way it always should have been. Thank you very much. You're welcome. Okay, we'll be back. The Pacific Coast Highway is one of the most scenic routes in the United States and should be on everyone's bucket list. Since the 1930s, people have driven along this 600-mile stretch of road, it's also known as State Route 1, that is filled with quaint seaside towns, towering mountains, and endless beaches. We're told that Laguna Beach in particular has some incredible views and a great location from which to do some California dreaming. Wow, this is really something. Look at these gulls. I'm in Crystal Cove State Park, just north of Laguna Beach. This is the quintessential Pacific Ocean, Pacific Coast vista. It's been a great show, starting in San Diego and going up the Pacific Coast Highway. I can't tell you how many great people we've met, how many fun things we've done, and how many great places we've seen. If you want to know more about our show, go to www.adventuresover55.com. Right now, I'm not going to be thinking about anything but my California self. See you next time. Stay tuned for a sneak peek from Transparent Digital Television. Original movies, shows, and music, 3 screens that fit your lifestyle. TransparentDTV.com. This program is made possible with support from Zwirling, Schachter & Zwirling. Complex business litigation with excellence, integrity, and results. Zwirling, Schachter, Zwirling, ZSZ.com. Here's a sneak peek from an upcoming episode of Adventures Over 55. Well, we've arrived in downtown Los Angeles, which is a lot more cosmopolitan than I remember it being. Robin's going to be tied up in court for a few days, so I have to find something to do. One of the cool things in downtown LA is this funicular called Angel's Flight that goes from the Grand Central Market up to my hotel in the financial district. A little bit of a bumpy ride, but what do you expect? It's 118 years old. The Bunker Hill district is filled with history, and it's not hard to conjure up images of the great film noirs that were shot here. Luxury hotels share the area with the residents of Skid Row, which is only steps away. This funicular has a reputation for being the world's shortest railway. Regardless, it's worth the buck to not have to climb 150 steps at a 33% incline. I'm in the downtown district in the Grand Central Market. All kinds of food. I mean, have a look. Shouldn't be hard to find whatever you want here. Here they have a lot of Latin, a lot of Mexican, a lot of produce, all fresh. Beans, spices, all kinds of stuff. Wow, fruit. Can't really see it all, but not even a quarter of a mile, a couple of blocks away from the most expensive buildings in downtown LA, you've got the crumbling, dilapidated ruins of an era gone by, buildings from the 30s, one of these moms and pops, going over to the warehouse district. But it won't be long until all this space up there. Some people may recognize this building, the Ray Bradbury building, from the set of Blade Runner. It's over 100 years old, 125 years old. The architecture is exquisite. Elevators still work, but you're not allowed to go above the first floor because there's still tenants in here. It was almost torn down in the 1990s, but thankfully, Louis Bradbury, I'm not sure if there was a relation, bought the property and renovated it. They're still doing film shoots here. All over downtown, what's old is new. When the banks and the law firms moved out in the 1980s, buildings on South Spring Street emptied out and poverty set in. Buildings that somehow escaped the wrecking ball have made good, however, on a second chance by becoming homes to cultural arts centers, theater groups, galleries, food markets, malls, and more. This building at 514 South Spring Street was built in 1916 by the architect John Parkinson, who designed many of the buildings in this part of town. The ceiling is 50 by 100 feet, and it's supported by bronze cornices and marble walls. Now it's the home to the Los Angeles Theater Center. Look at this place. I'm like the only one here. I have it all to myself. This is the Los Angeles Theater Center on Spring Street in downtown LA. Looks like it was an old train depot at one point, but they've renovated it and turned it into an arts, theater, and cultural center. I'm ready to get my award right now. Well, it's time for me to go back to the East Coast, and just in time, because it looks like I'm taking the good weather with me. I've had so much fun on this trip from San Diego to Los Angeles. LA's a lot more fun than I remember it being. The thriving arts community here is just not to be believed. There's something for everyone, and it keeps getting more and more vibrant, even though there's so much development going on. And once grand and Art Deco buildings and structures are being turned into these sort of antiseptic European condominiums, the flavor of LA will never die. In fact, I think I'm going to get some headshots. Which way to the stage? That way? here's a first look at all the great shows coming to Transparent DTV, making television history.
I think it's a split personality. He's a teetotaler, mama's boy. There's something that's tapped into his consciousness, something that happened a long time ago.
I'm sure if she was home right now, she would want to thank you herself, but I gotta go. No, no, no.
No hay nadie en el otro. Tampoco hay ningún bacalao en el horno.
Just like all the other users, son of the slugs. Thinking that you can use Prince Billy to open doors? Well, guess what? Those doors are locked!
I'll give you the address, and you can take care of my problem.
I've killed someone, Father. Make that 2. Or was it 4? And that was just in Florida. 8, 9, 10. I'm losing count. Venture off the beaten path with Brian and Jamie on Adventures Over 55. You know, adventure trekking isn't just for people in their 20s with no body fat. No, you too can get healthy, rekindle that romance, and experience America in a way you never have. You'll visit destinations you never dreamed existed, discover little-known or altogether forgotten places, and meet unforgettable people. So let's go on a fun, action-packed tour that's full of surprises and laughs on Adventures Over 55.